This is where the fun begins.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans, because it has way more value if we bring that in. And
Right.
it's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
Are you sure? So be it. Did you miss me?
Why, hello there, everyone. I'm so sorry for the delay. I had to redo or restart my browser because nothing was responding on the browser. But here we are, and welcome to CAF Chat. I am your host, OG Star Wars, and I'm so glad to be here with you on another Thursday morning CAF Chat here. And as always, as you join, please hit the like button. Share out the stream. Let everybody know we're live. You know, especially those who value the original Star Wars lore. Let them know I'm here. Let them know they can come join in and sit and talk, discuss. Even if we agree or disagree with, who is the best character or what we like about the lore or whatever it is, or what movie is better than the other out of the 6 Star Wars movies. That's fine. That's conversation, right? So let them know I'm live, I'm here. And if you're catching the replay, of course, smash that like button as well. And let me know you're here by leaving a comment. Watch all the way through and interact with the comments there. If I get to you and I get to review your comment, I may reply, all of that. Of course, any questions, let me know. Again, my name is Laura Baga. This is my channel, OG Star Wars, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And as always, what's in your mug? What beverage are you enjoying? And this CAF chat, and I'll get to you guys in the chat already here pretty soon, but this CAF chat is not only about Smuggler's lore pertaining to Talon Karrde, which I have on display here, but we are going to do a fun Star Wars quiz that is from the Star Wars Insider issue 112. And it's just all fun and games, you guys. It's not like, it's mandatory. You must know, and you're going to get a fail if you don't know all the answers. I just thought it'd be fun to go through these questions. And so grab your pencil and your paper and see who gets the most correct answers. I thought that'd be fun to do. So it's called Jedi Training, and it's mostly on the movies, I guess you can say, at least the original, the OT part, from what I went through. I thought it'd be fun just to say, oh shit. And then there's also interesting facts too in there. So I thought it would be interesting to go through, see who would get the most correct answers and stuff, and just have fun and nerd out on that, because you know me, I like to nerd out on all things Star Wars, right? And then we'll get into Cringe Factor. So, of course, Cringe Factor is going to be about the Force was changed about 21 years ago, and did it stay that way or not? So we'll get into that, and it's about New Jedi Order. And we'll see what Screen Rant has to say about that and what you guys have to say about that. Okay. So let me go ahead. I'm scrolling all the way to the top here. Jason is here. He's shared out the link on Twitter, telling everybody he hopes to see everyone here. Hey, OG Star Wars, good to be here. Yes, it's amazing to be here with you as well. I look forward to our Thursday mornings, especially when I'm not able to get a lot of video content out to you guys, which I did 2 yesterday or 2 within the last couple of days. So one is about a book review from Insider, Legacy of the Force Inferno, and it's a conversation with Troy Denning. And I did turn that article into a kind of like a exploration of Inferno novel, sharing some clips and stuff, and then giving my final thoughts. So go catch that when you can. And then I also did a EU short on Inferno 2 about Luke Skywalker's death. Now, I know it sounds clickbaity because we know he never died, but he did have a quote unquote death in Inferno, and it was very interesting how it happened. So yeah, so go check that one out too when you have the chance. And Melissa Lord's here, another channel member. Hey girl, OG Star Wars. Man, she is such a wonderful woman here, supporting the channels that she, all the channels that she adores. And I adore you back. Thank you for coming in and hanging out. Gordon McDonald's here. This is where the fun begins. Hell yeah, it is. I love that. But do you know Han Solo said that first? He sure did. I was thinking about re-editing that clip here, or at least putting the clip here to share in the brand. But Han Solo says this is where the fun begins first. So interesting fact right there. But I do prefer Anakin's over Han's because of the enthusiasm that Anakin Skywalker has. So yeah, there's that. And then hail to the chat. Thank you so much. And let's see here. And we have Star Around 7. Hi, how are you doing? And welcome to the channel. And let's see here. I have like a glare from the light. Since the seasons changed, I have 2 windows here. And so when the seasons start changing and the sun kind of shifts, or the earth shifts a little bit for on this axis a little bit for going into winter, so it feels like, or it looks like the sun shifts basically, if you guys understand what I'm talking about. So the sun position now is going through the window differently, and it's putting a little cast on my my screen here. So let's see here. Gold leader standing by. There you go. Red leader standing by. Yep. Coffee ready? Oh, hell yeah, it is. I have my big mug here. I woke up a little later than I needed to. My alarm didn't go off. I don't know why I have my alarm set for a certain time Thursdays. I think I accidentally switched it off when I was changing some time frames on my alarm on my phone. And so I woke up a little bit later. So it's like, I'm not going to rush and get my face ready and all that. Not today. So you guys still have me here, just not my image, only my avatar. But yes, the coffee's ready. I have a huge mug here, a huge mug. And man, it tastes so good. And Target is dead ahead, crawling with buzz droids. Yep. Let's see here. Coming in hot. No, just stay on target. I love all the ones that you're saying here. And let's see here. And the Fracture Filter, another channel member. I see I have a super sticker coming up here, so I'll get that as well. Good morning, everyone. Chat, if you haven't smashed that like button, yeah, smash it real good. Dirt, 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 dirt. Dirt, 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 dirt. Not push it, but smash it. Smash it real good. Yep. I know. It's a good morning. Shill Slayer standing by. There you are. And then Steezo is here. What's up? Now I jumped back onto Darth Valvin's Discord. I've on there. I'm a member of the Discord. I just haven't had a chance to really get interactive. I'm gonna go check in today before I hit the gym and stuff and say hello to everybody. It's just hard for me sometimes, especially when my life gets busy, and my life is getting a little busier again. I am going to be doing an art lecture for the college that the community college I'm alumni for. So that's coming up in November. So I'm preparing for that as well, and finishing a couple of paintings pertaining to the lecture that I'm going to be doing, so that I can also have display some of my art during the lecture. So that's exciting. I'm excited for that. And then Soul Assassin says, I can't believe it's going to be noon. What the hell happened to the morning? I don't know. I have no idea. It's still morning here. It's 9:13 a.m. Let's see here. I'm just a subscriber, another channel member as well. Howdy, OG and chat. Hell, the EU. Hell yeah. The EU is forever. And even though we're not particularly getting anything new, which I don't want to, with the state of Star Wars under Disney, I do have the wishes that we could have had the publications that were supposed to come out. We all do, but I'm kind of glad that, nothing's being done right now because of the state of Star Wars as of now. Smash that like button and become a channel member. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, let's see here. I think I got everybody, but I'm moving down so I can get to the super chat here. Bateau is here. Hello, how are you doing, Bateau? Everybody's all saying hi to each other. Jim the Despot, sup? Deuces. I'm not even on screen, and I really threw out my deuces as well. You guys can't see me, and I really did that. And Adega Outlaw. Deuces, right? Yes, I hear that, deuces, or I see that. And then Darkwing Duck, what's up, people? How are you doing? Good morning from CAF chat. And let's see here. And then we have Master of the TDS. What's up? How are you doing? One of my good friends there. Glad you are jumping on and joining. All right, so let's go ahead, and I think I got everybody. Let me get the super sticker. I don't have it viewed in front of me. I don't have another screen up right now, but it's a $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. It's usually a thumbs up. Thank you so much for coming in and supporting the channel. You are amazing. All of you guys are. Dadman Walking, another channel member, is here. Howdy, OG Star Wars. How are you doing? And Jag is here as well. Red October standing by. I love that Red October. That's amazing. October's almost, we're just nearly done with October now. It's crazy. It felt like this month went by quick. I can't believe it. All right, so let's get into our Talon Karrde here. Oh, I have a big old message here. Let me see here. I know everybody is chatting too. I'm so smart, but I bypass the like button. But if you get the reference, I got that. Oh, holy shit. Damn. And I like the name Talon gave his ship, the Wild Card. Yes, it's amazing, huh? It's cool. The Wild Card. Yeah. What a card. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Let's see here. And then Taylor's here as well. So has a lot of stuff going on there. And then let's see here. All right. And then some cafe. And then let's see here. Yeah, you guys are all chatting. All right. So what do you guys know about Talon Karrde? So again, this is Smuggler's lore. And next week we'll get into the Smugglers Alliance that he helped created. And I think I'm going to throw in Booster Tarek in that conversation. I thought about doing both the Smugglers Alliance while we talked about Talon Karrde, but I'm going to leave that for next week. Okay. So Talon Karrde. What do you know about him? So this is just a little bit of facts about him here. Doesn't get into his timeline just yet. And I have a super chat here. Brandon, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Have you ever thought of reaching out to JJ Plagiarism? He is a great Star Wars YouTuber who reviews EU content and debunks idiotic arguments. I know about him. I need to sit down and reach out to more people, because my Talking EU interviews that I do, that's always ongoing. That project's never canceled. So even if I'm spend a month or two without having an interview, I'm always reaching out to EU enthusiasts to no matter how much you know. Now, I interviewed someone that barely just knows the EU by a couple of book accounts and then but knows the movies. And then I have, interviewed few people that know the EU inside and out, just to create that fun conversation and let people know that there's more of us out there, and you can support channel, subscribe, listen to what they have to say, who's their favorite character, how they got involved in Star Wars. Because everybody has their own origin stories and their own origin story when it goes into the EU, and their own favorite character, all of that. And so stay tuned for that, because I've been thinking about a few names to go and contact. So stay tuned for future Talking EU content here. Like I said, it's always an ongoing thing. That project is never canceled, even if at sometimes I haven't interviewed someone in a long time. So maybe I'll end up reaching out to JJ. Who knows? We'll see. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. I know Talon Karrde took in Mara Jade and had a ship named the Wild Card. Yes. So we'll get into that. And then I know a little about the EU, and it's pretty good, but I can't bring myself to read anything Star Wars now. Apathy is a franchise killer. Well, I'm glad you're here hanging out. Maybe this will spark you to, get away from the apathy and kind of like block all that faux lore, I guess you could say. Disney Star Wars is faux lore. So that's just like what ifs. That is like bad scenarios of the lore, whatever you want to, label them as, categorize them as, so that you could step away from, the apathy and come back into the heart, I guess you could say. And that's what my channel is all about. So thank you for being here with me. And hopefully, I spark your interest and stuff. I know being on social media and having your own content and using your own social media platform for your channel like I do, you can't help but see all that bullshit. And that kind of keeps you within that mud and muck of that apathy, right? So hopefully I spark some interest, and maybe you pick up a book and disregard all that bullshit that's Disney and have fun. Yeah. Let's see here. He played his cards well. Yes, he's another brilliant character that Timothy Zahn brought in. He like George Lucas, and I'll compare the two because George Lucas struck gold when he brought to Star Wars, right? Before it was known as A New Hope, before, it became the episode type series of movies, it was just Star Wars, because he was not sure if it was going to be received well. He wasn't sure if it would make any money. If it didn't do well, didn't make money, of course, then the Splinters of the Mind Eye would have been the sequel to it, and that would have been done. That would have been it. We wouldn't have gotten all the movies, all of that, none of that. So thankful that Star Wars became a hit. And then George, of course, independent mind, didn't want to follow the constructs of Hollywood, took his company elsewhere. So that's another thing that I adore about him. He does contradict a lot of things that he says over the years. And, I've been in many conversations on social media about that, when people just stick to his quotes that he must really have thought that way throughout his whole life in building and creating his franchise, Lucasfilm, which, if you look at his actions over his words, his actions always contradict those words in some way, shape, or form. And that goes into if he liked the EU, if he thought it was like quote unquote canon, I guess you can say. Did he work on the EU? Like all of that he said, like, oh, I don't pay attention to that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Actually, he did. He helped create it. He used it to create his prequel trilogy. Like a lot of world building was because of the EU. And so there's, like I said, look at the actions rather than the words. Look at the actions rather than the words. Let me see here. Yeah, he does have some good vids. I agree with that. Let me see. I have another thing here. I'll grab onto it here pretty soon. Super chat. Yeah, you are. Yeah. And I'm an inquisitor. I think I need to get you on too for a Talking EU as well. Like I said, I'm browsing. There's some people that maybe I haven't even mentioned here that I watch their channels that I'm like reaching out to do Talking EU interview. There's one person that I want to bring in that just got married. So that I'm just going to wait for that and reach out later. So I have all these ideas for Talking EU interviews, and I just need to put them in action. So, this winter, as we get further towards like Thanksgiving and stuff like that, look for announcements on that. You're the only Star Wars channel I watch, so I think that means you have sparked me some interest. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I really, really do. And of course, Master of TDS, you guys go ahead and subscribe to him. He does have, him and his wife do make some great, interesting videos as well that I do watch. I'm bad at leaving comments sometimes, so I apologize, but I do watch. I hit the like button, all of that. So go ahead, you guys, and support all our channel our channel, not members, content creators here on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the words I'm trying to get out of this mouth. I definitely could use some good reading material. I read too quickly. I take my time sometimes, and then I go back and reread a little bit, like, oh my, did that really happen? Or whatever. And then I'd sit down and take notes. I do annotate sometimes in my books. I know that's bad. I guess some people think it's bad. I am a huge nerd when it comes to, studying the lore and stuff. So I do annotate. There's some books I do not absolutely annotate in because I'm like, these are classics, of course. So I'll take a sticky notepad, and write on that and stick it to the page there. Maybe I shouldn't even be sticking it to the page, but I do. Brandon says, with the $5 super chat, thank you again. Not related to the conversation, but excuse me. I've been wondering where you got the animation of Luke fighting, because it would, I answered that. So I don't think you've seen it yet. It is here on YouTube. I will find it unless Soul Assassin knows exactly where that came from, like the top of his head. But it's here it's a fan made clip, and it's here on YouTube. So it's from Dark Empire. So I'll share the link here in the description. If Soul Assassin gets a link out here, that'll be great. Oh, he did already. As I am talking, he did it, of course. So thank you so much. My cure for the apathy. I'm writing Star Wars fan fiction that draws from the EU. Granted, I take some alternate universe directions. Yeah, well, I mean, fans do that, tend to do that, So that's pretty interesting. I like that. Drink more. Whoops, it jumped on me. Drink more coffee. Yes. All right, you guys, we're going to get into this topic here because we do have a fun quiz here. So you guys have a pen and paper ready. It's just all for fun. It's not like, I'm like your teacher here and I got a ruler and I'm going to smack your hand if you get an F. I don't think that ever happened in school, so I hope not. Oh my God. And then I'm a very slow reader. I can only read as fast as I talk, but I remember everything. Yeah, everybody's kind of different. Like Matt Wilkins, he like there's such a thing as a speed reader, and they take it in so quickly as well, whereas some people just take their time and absorb it that way. It's very interesting. The mind, the brain is such a amazing like bionic biology, like computer, organic, I guess you could say. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like to annotate. I like to take notes too. I reread something to make sure like I got it clarified sometimes, or like if I'm going to write it down and I want to make sure I get it per word, I do that too. $5 or $4.99. Thank you, Steezo. Yay, I made it to CAF chat. I think my company is Disney Star Wars fans because they're always scheduled me to work during CAF chats. Not today. Ha ha ha. You're like, not today. Not today, Satan. I hardly ever comment, so don't feel bad. Unfortunately, I have to head out now. Work waits for no one. Oh, one is like, no work. One's like, I have to go to work. Have a great stream. Everyone smash that like button. Thank you so much. Thank you for dropping in and spending some time with us. Let me see here. Never take forever for me to read, but I can read comics like nothing. Yeah, comics right there. Those are fun. But again, even with that, Like if there's a digital copy I'm reading of a comic, it's easy to, save the image to share. But if it's a hard copy, like in hand, then I'm like, I want this picture. And then I see if I could find the digital copy. If I can't, then I'm scanning, I'm taking a screenshot, editing it so it looks good, all of that. So, but that's me. That's the artist in me too. I am so weird. I know. All right, so let's get into this. Talon Karrde here. I have 11 beautiful souls here. Thank you guys for joining. Talon Karrde here. He was born around about 31 BBY, Battle Before Yavin. Of course, no homeworld was indicated whatsoever within the lore of his character. His species gender, of course, is human male. And fuck pronouns. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't believe that using them. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Now here goes my channel. It's going to go down. Hair black with gray, eyes light blue. So his affiliations, basically, he was a part of Talon Karrde's crew, a part of his organization as an employee. And we'll get into that a little bit. And then he formed and found the Smugglers Alliance. So if you've read the Thrawn trilogy, you would know more about that. And I think too in the Thrawn duology, but I don't remember. New Republic is also what he was a part of that. That's an affiliation more than the Imperial Remnant. Basically, New Republic is the one that he more or less sided with at one point, even though he didn't want to have pick. He didn't want to choose sides. He wanted to be neutral. And then, of course, the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances. So at one point, the New Republic shifts into the Galactic Federation of Free Alliance. So that's the history of the New Republic. I really need to do a history on that. And then, of course, the Jedi Coalition, which you will find out what exactly happened to why he only is, affiliated at the end, towards the end of his career, I guess you could say, with the Jedi Coalition. And that all goes into the New Jedi Order era. So we'll get into that as well. So these are a little bit of just a little bit of facts here about him. So Talon Karrde's crew. Now, this is not every single one. I asked on Twitter because I was so busy putting together last night this PowerPoint, because you know me, I nerd out sometimes and do PowerPoints. I have a whole list of PowerPoints now on my computer that are a whole page or a whole file, I guess you could say. And Torgruda's and the other things that I made PowerPoints, Star Wars lore focus. So Talon Karrde's crew, of course, we all know Mara Jade. She basically became his second in command. She got promoted in the beginning of Heir to the Empire. And then we have Aves. And if you've listened to, and I wish I would have made clips of it, but if you listen to on Audible, Heir to the Empire, and I think Mark Thompson's is the one that narrates that, his narration for the novel is so amazing. I really love even how he depicts Aves' voice and all that, and Torv. Very, very good narration. So if you haven't had a chance to, check out the Audible, if you have it already, that's good. Because I always hate to say, go do it and then give money to Disney somehow. But that's one thing that I always recommend is if you're really busy and you really don't have time to pick up the book, always find the unabridged versions if you can. And Heir to the Empire is unabridged. And the copy that's been put out is pre-Disney on Audible. And Finn Torv, pilot of Etherway. So we get to learn more about him in Heir to the Empire as well. And then, of course, Ghent. So Zachary's Ghent, the Slicer. So now, I know you guys who have read probably Thrawn trilogy know most of these characters. If I'm missing someone from Talon Karrde's crew, again, I'm sorry. I was hoping that there's a way I could find the list without having to go through all the books and all of that. I should have just went ahead and highlighted their names, but I didn't because I don't think about highlighting characters. It's more or less like scenarios and all that I usually pay attention more to. Smash the like button, of course. I vaguely remember Ghent. Name rings a bell. Yes, he is the slicer. When they're looking at how the Imperial Remnant or Grand Admiral Thrawn is finding out about the information about them, and they find out how, like, there's some kind of breach, like there's some kind of what do you call it, some kind of leak in the Capitol there in the Senate building that is sending out information to Thrawn. They, eventually Talon Karrde sends Ghent to help find where that leak source is coming from. And this is a young man, very smart, very intelligent when it comes to dealing with, the holocron computers, all of that, electronics and stuff like that. But then he's also, it shows a little bit his naiveness. And we learn more about that too in Thrawn Duology, about how naive he is, but how he recognizes that he spends so much time, as a slicer, that he needs to kind of get involved in the outer world, I guess you could say. Very neat character. Very neat character. Aves, the unsung hero of the Thrawn crisis. Either by luck or the will of the Force, he saved Wedge and the others at Bill Bringy. Yes, that was a very interesting scenario because they thought that they were tricking each other on where they were going to show up at. So that was very interesting. Yeah. Let's see. Have you ever seen the animations of Heir to the Empire done by? Yes, and in fact, I have done. We have reviewed. We had watch party when he did his part 1, or like he put a group of his episodes together. We did a watch party, so I'm waiting for another part of that so we can watch the other ones that are coming out. So stay tuned for that, for the second part of his watch party when he groups a bunch of the episodes together. That would be fun and interesting to sit down. So stay tuned for that. All right. So interesting characters here. Dankin, I could not find his information for whatever reason. I don't know if that's spelled right or what. So there's no information on, and I cannot remember what his holdings as an employee of Talon is, like what his job description is. So it's blank. So I apologize for that. And then, of course, the Voinks, his pets, Voinkskers, or whatever they're called, right here. Very interesting. So we're going to get to the history of Talon. So, and this is by bullet point. We'll talk maybe that'll spark you guys to create more conversation on each little section that we're going to talk about, especially if you read the Thrawn trilogy, you'll know, and if you got into the New Jedi Order, you'll know his standings with that as well. So Talon Karrde, Karrde was a smuggler and informational broker. At the top of his game, he quickly rose up through the ranks of George Cardasse's organization. So that's where he began. He began with George Cardass. And this man, Talon Karrde, along with George Cardass, they are the top. They're very intelligent people, which helped them in this type of path of career, if you want to call it that, smuggler, and in the smuggler's arena, I guess you can say. He is very staunch, I kind of see his morality kind of like a Mandalorian in a sense, maybe. I don't know, maybe some of you guys who know about the Mandalorian culture will understand what I'm getting at, because he has a sense of morality, and we know that, and we're going to get into this more here about when he finds Luke Skywalker and what happens with that scenario, or he rescues. When Cardass disappeared about 0 BBY, Karrde quietly and swiftly took over the organization. So after George Cardass disappeared, and that information could be read more into the Thrawn duology, and a little bit, if you want to learn more about George Cardass then of course Outbound Flight is another one to take a look at. So some of the books that I'm throwing out here, if you guys are interested. And so Talon Karrde basically just took the reins after George Karrde, disappeared. And a little bit of history there. I had to do something with Dark Jedi and it ended up on Dagobah. So I'm not going to spoil it. Very interesting history there, or, back history there, I guess you can say, and what goes on regarding that time frame when he's on Dagobah. And then after he leaves Dagobah, and then Ang Ting months. Like I said, I'm trying to spark interest. I don't want to spoil too much of these characters to you guys, especially if you haven't read the Thrawn duology and the Hand of Thrawn duology. So check it out. And then thank you so much, Soul Assassin Outbound Flight. You can listen to that here on YouTube as well. Yes, so I shared an interesting fact on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, you probably wouldn't have seen it. So Wedge, he lost his parents. Very tragic. They had basically a fueling station above Corellia, basically in that area. And there was a dispute, and I'm not going to give too much information on that. Like I said, I want you guys to explore and find out and read about it. But after he lost his parents and he watched them get, like, their family station get shot, like blown up. Spoiler. So Booster Tarek is the one that kept him and raised him after that. So with that being said, Booster Tarek, of course, Talon Karrde, they always knew about each other because they're smugglers, right? They all deal with the same type, in the same work field, I guess you could say, and they're basically competitors. And at one point, Talon Karrde was asked, wanted to hire Wedge on to his crew, and Wedge turned him down. So interesting little fact here, cross-reference here, because, Wedge did grow up in the smuggling arena, right? with Booster Tarek. So Marek's Tarek, which if you see on the side here, I do have some smugglers here, not all of them. I'll be adding some more for next CAF chat. Marek's is kind of like Wedge's sister. He does have a sister, but she is like his sister too. So very interesting facts there. Let's see here. Did I miss anything here? I want to make sure I hit everybody's at least question or point out something. Let's see here. Have you seen the animation of Air? Oh yeah, I already read that. Let's see here. Karrde was has a mind for business, always willing to see which side has the bigger deal. Exactly. Oh yeah, isn't Karrde the human that Thrawn kept around? In Outbound Flight, yes, he's one of them. And this is probably part 2. Yep, it is. Yes, it is. So yeah, so there's that story here. I don't want to, once we get more into like Booster Tarek, George Karrde, I mean, this is going to be probably going well into winter with, remind me, I need to turn off my my sound here, my notification on my phone. Anyways, so as we move along with CAF chat going forward, we'll probably talk a lot more about Smuggler, and get into the history and even talk about the routes and stuff like that. So I have this whole bit of like lore talk planned out, so, and I think smugglers are very interesting. Smugglers basically helped the universe, they helped the universe, they kept the universe going, or the galaxy, Star Wars galaxy. Basically, like they say, the world turns, help the world turn, they help the galaxy turn, I guess you can say. Without them, a lot of things wouldn't have happened the way they did. And rightfully so for the good. Rightfully so for the good. What makes the universe turn? Smugglers. And so they're very, very interesting group of people. Even Han Solo, of course, we talked about him. He was the beginning of this because he's also the movie character that eventually becomes respectable, if you guys remember that little verbiage. And so he's got that smuggler's mind. He's lived it. He understands it. He through that and how he was raised. um, contributes a lot and has contributed a lot to the New Republic's growth, um, to his evolution as a character, and also with Leia and Luke in them. And very interesting character in his, alone on his own. When Jabba was killed in 4 BBY or ABY, sorry about that, Karrde was able to rise to the top of the smuggler's world, the smuggling world. So not only did he rise to the top of George's organization and took it as his own, developed as his own. Once Jabba was killed, like Jabba was the main person, the main being, I guess you can say, to influence, the Outer Rim. He had his organization and everybody went to him for work, all of that. And once Jabba was killed, it went to hell, basically. Like, all these smugglers were trying to vie for a spot. Even Jabba's relatives in the huts were all trying to vie for Jabba's place. And Talon Karrde was the one that won out, basically. So not only, like I said, that he got the head of the organization that he was once an employee to, he also rose to the top after Jabba was killed. And you'll see a lot of smugglers and even bounty hunters will thank Luke Skywalker, basically, and even, Han and Leia, but, it always goes back to Luke Skywalker for defeating Jabba, even though, some people don't know exactly that the one who killed Jabba was Leia. So they have like deep respect for Luke because of that. He kind of dismantled Jabba's organization, so, there's that. And then so he got involved in the Galactic Civil War in 9 ABY, despite avoiding taking sides. So we all know that if you read Heir to the Empire, or if you read the Thrawn trilogy, basically, I'm always saying Heir to the Empire, that's the first book. He says, I don't want to, especially like when he's like thinking about returning Luke back or turning Luke into Thrawn. He is playing he's playing out the scenarios. What, like Soul Assassin said, he's playing out the scenarios on what's going to benefit him and his organization. But then also he does have a sense of morality too. And he always keeps to his word. So this goes into to the rescue of Luke Skywalker that set his fate. And because before he found Luke Skywalker stranded after Luke Skywalker's mingle with Thrawn, basically, when they try to capture him and he did that little engine maneuver, and I forgot the name of it now. There's a name of that maneuver he did to get him out of the clutches of the interdictor. And then he did a quick hyperspace jump, which his hyperspace drive was basically damaged. So he wasn't going far. Thrawn knew that. He set out a bounty for Luke, reaching out to Karrde and anybody that would want to take that and earn some money to find Luke Skywalker. And Karrde's like, I don't know. He really didn't want to do it. Yet, because of Mara Jade, and there's a history there, Luke was found, rescued, and he took him in. And then he was deciding, well, I don't know. Mara's like, let's turn him in. He's like, I don't know yet what I want to do, but, he's here with us. We're going to hold on to him. And then Han and Lando show up. They end up hiding and locking Luke up in a utility shed. He escapes. There's that chase with Mara Jade. They end up in the forest, all of that. And, Thrawn is suspicious. He goes there. He shows up while all that shit's going down, right? And he's suspicious. And eventually, Luke and Mara's found. Their identities are hiding under false identities and stuff like that. And Luke basically helps Karrde defeat and get rid of, in a sense, Thrawn's people there on Merkur. So it all goes there. And because of that, And Karrde has a sense of morality. He's like, thank you for helping me out. You can go now, basically, in short. And so that sealed his fate where he's going to stand between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic. So very, like I said, I smashed that and I'm compress it all into a short little story there. Jabba is an example of what happens when you mess with a Jedi, right? Right. So that's like, and that's another story in itself. Very interesting. Jabba's story, especially when you get into Han Solo trilogy, is very interesting. The Hutt story, basically, not just Jabba, but the Hutt story. The Hutt story. So I have 8 beautiful souls here, you guys. Please smash the like button. Let everybody know that we're live. Let's see here. And I didn't Karrde ask Han if Leia was his sister? I don't remember. No, he asked if Leia had a sister. I believe. Because he understood that Leia and Han were married. He asked Leia if he asked if Leia had a sister. Okay, so Grand Admiral Thrawn set a bounty on Talon Karrde, which forced his hand on selling the location of Katana, the Katana fleet. I think I spelled it wrong there. I think it's Ki. But anyways, so if you get into Dark Force Rising, it's about the Katana fleet, and the New Republic is small. It's still brand new. It's still budding. It's still growing. They are still basically mopping up what was remaining of the Imperial Remnant. They have been doing that because the events of like taking Coruscant back as a capital and all that happened in the X-Wing series. And of course, they had not Dala, but Isani to deal with. Now Thrawn comes out of nowhere, and they thought they got rid of all of the Grand Admirals, right? So this was a huge shock to them. Of course, Thrawn was kind of like a secret weapon of Palpatine, because no one expected Palpatine to put an alien species in as a Grand Admiral, because he's, basically the Empire is xenophobic. So I thought that was a brilliant, smart move of Palpatine. Even though he's xenophobic, I guess you can say, he basically used people to benefit himself as well. And he recognized, the intelligence of these beings and used them to used them basically. And so after Talon Karrde, let Luke go and stuff, and I guess you could say betrayed Thrawn in a sense. That's when the bounty happened. And everybody's talking about the Katana fleet. That's another story in itself of what happened. And so Talon had a bounty on his head. And so he ended up, revealing both to the New Republic, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, to Thrawn, where the Katana fleet is. So it was a matter of time on who got there. And I take that back. One of Talon Karrde's past employees had that information too. So basically he ended up given the location of the New Republic. Grand Admiral Thrawn already had the location, because you know how brilliant Thrawn is. He kind of puts puzzle pieces together without any effort whatsoever. And it was a race between the New Republic, which was very hard because you had Borsk Filia. Yep, we have that character as well, who was the antagonist in the New Republic. And so Leia had Han and Luke go, and with no, Mara wasn't with them at the time, sorry, but they had Han and Luke. She had Han and Luke and stuff go and get the fleet as well. So let's see here. Let me see. Check out OG's community. Yes. Let's see here. So that the Katana Fleet right there, Black Force Rising, or Dark Force Rising, sorry. That's the second installment right there. Talon Karrde formed the Smugglers Alliance to represent them in the New Republic and aid them against Thrawn. So, so that's another event here. So, like he said, he didn't really want to take sides, but he also went for the greater good, that what's going to benefit his business as well. And Thrawn already had shit against him. So he's like, fuck it, I might as well aid the New Republic. And so he did, because that was in his best interest. So after Thrawn's death, Karrde remained an ally and friend to the Skywalkers and Solos, yet did not fully trust the New Republic. So there was this trust factor here. He did not trust the New Republic, even though he still remained an aide to and friends with the Skywalker Solo family. 19 BBY. So here's this image here. This is her getting ready to wed Luke and stuff like that. I love this little comment. He says, "Never thought I'd see you this nervous, Mara. It's actually refreshing." So I thought that was a great bit of humor there, because we know how Mara Jade is. Like, she is very calculating and all of that. She's very intimidating too. So she's one of those characters that is not, again, well developed by Zahn. And she basically, I wouldn't say she's like a bitch or anything like, because she's far from that, but she's very calculating. 19 BBY, Talon Karrde went on a mission to find George Cardass, seeking a copy of the Ka'amos documents to help end a political crisis. So that's in the Hand of Thrawn duology. I highly recommend that. And he found out George Cardass, basically was alive, that he was living discreetly. And how he found out is that he had at one point sent Lando and Mara out to find him. And that's before he went and searched for him himself. And that's where you have all this hinted relationship scandal between Mara and Lando Calrissian. So I don't know if you guys ever heard about that, but yeah, it was kind of like hinted that Lando and Mara had a relationship. So dun dun dun. Yeah. What's that? Wouldn't that be? Yeah, ABY. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's supposed to be ABY. Not 19. Sorry. 19 is that's during the fall of the Old Republic, basically. so it's ABY. You're right. And then a peace treaty occurred between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant during that time, 19 ABY. So that all happened within that time frame. So that was another thing, because Pelion was searching for peace. The Moffs and them wanted to continue the war against the New Republic, or the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances, basically. Or actually, it's probably New Republic still. I think the Galactic one occurred during the Vong time. So the Vong, the Yuuzhan Vong War. And Karrde turned his organization into an information sharing agency to maintain trust between the two governments. So basically, with the Imperial Remnant they now have peace with the New Republic. So he wanted to maintain trust and work between. Again, he's thinking about his business. If he can trade information between the two, earn money, blah, 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 he's fine and dandy. So he's thinking about his benefits as well as benefiting and aiding these two governments within their confounds of the peace treaty. And then Mara Jade, his second in command, left his organization to marry Luke Skywalker and become a Jedi. Yeah, knowledge is power. You old pirate. Yeah. Oh, my foot's cramping up. Oh, so the Vong invasion. So this is where the galaxy was turned on its head. Enemies that were still remained turned to allies, even more so. Even though there's the treaty there were still some people that did not like the treaty and went against it. So enemies who were once enemies turned out to be allies because of this common enemy threat, the Vong invasion. So Talon Karrde revived the Smugglers Alliance to help combat the Yuuzhan Vong. So he kind of stepped away from that informational broker thing that he had and went back to his Smugglers Alliance, reunited all the smugglers again, and they aided in the destruction of the Yuuzhan Vong. So again, they had to reorganize because this was a greater threat. And so everybody had to be involved some way, somehow. I mean, it was a huge, if you want to talk dark times, like the Yuuzhan Vong put Palpatine's dark times to shame. That's how bad it was. No one was safe. Like, characters weren't safe. There was like almost a death in every single novel. There was a death of someone that, were associated or a part of the Skywalker family as well. And I think that's where a lot of people, not a lot, but people who got kind of turned off with the New Jedi Order because how dark it was, how gritty it was, how like even characters we know like Luke Skywalker questioned their path and how they should defeat the Vong. I mean, there was so much chaos going on, like Han losing his best friend and going off waywardly a little bit, as a drunken guy and all this other stuff. Leia, who almost lost her life bleeding out from the impact of an Imphy staff. All of that. I mean, it was dark times. Losing Anakin Solo, Jason Solo being kidnapped. They thought he was dead at one point. I mean, dark times going on. Worlds being destroyed and re-terraformed. All of that. And so the smugglers, they united under the Smugglers Alliance to help defeat. And he also played a key role in finding refuge for the young Jedi in the Maw. They needed to keep the young Jedi safe. They needed an outlet to go to that wasn't found too quickly by the Vong, which he helped with that. Leia and Han basically helped with that as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of story nuances here that I'm just brushing through that by reading and experiencing, you will find out how vital all of this was, like how dire everything was. With Lando Calrissian and Booster Tarek, they helped Chief of State candidate Cal Olmos win the election. So Cal Olmos at the time was pro-Jedi. A lot of that changes in this. There at one time there was the government wasn't pro-Jedi, so there's another thing that happens there where the Jedi were hunted down. I forgot what the name was. It wasn't Peace Brigade. I forgot the name of that they called themselves, who hunted down the Jedi for the Vong. And so Cal Olmos was put into play there. That was during the fall of Coruscant. So that's when the Coruscant. So all this happened during or after, soon after the fall of Coruscant, where the Vong took over of the capital, and they moved the capital to, I think, Mon Calamari's planet, over there, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so everything, like I said, how we knew the galaxy shifted a lot. They eventually took back Coruscant. So that's another thing that's outside of Talon Karrde's story in a sense. He was still involved in that, but they end up recapturing Coruscant. So again, there's a lot of shit that happens there in the New Jedi Order. When the Jedi Order was declared enemies of the Galactic Federation of Free Alliance, so when they lost Coruscant, it was New Republic. When they moved the capital and stuff like that, the name changed. So there's a little history there. Karrde put his organization at the Jedi's disposal. So, when the Galactic Federation of Free Alliance declared Jedi as enemies, he put himself to the disposal of the Jedi, helped him out immensely. Because, of course, the one person that he cared about a lot, Mara Jade, who used to be his second in command, is now a Jedi and stuff like that. And they still had a wonderful relationship, almost like a daughter father type relationship. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And becoming a staunch ally despite previous desires to remain neutral. So he basically, you know, how he didn't want to pick a side and he wanted to remain neutrals between all sides because that would benefit his business. He totally sided with Luke in the Order, helped protect them, helped worked alongside them, all of that. And that was an interesting storyline for him in New Jedi Order as well. Let's see here. Yeah, the Vong did terraform Coruscant. And when you get into Legacy comics with Cade Skywalker, you'll get to see images of still them trying to correct the terraformation of Coruscant. So yes, they did. The Voxen. Let me see. I don't know what that one was about. Stupid Coruscant always falling. Yeah, I mean, how many times have Coruscant has fallen in the galaxy's history, right? And then Boba Fett became a hero and a leader during the Vong War, correct? And that's another story in itself. I don't want to exclude anybody in the victories against the Vong. But yeah, Boba Fett as Mandalore. Mandalore means he's the ruler, but ruler doesn't mean what you think and what you know in Disney Star Wars. Fuck that shit, right? Mandalore basically is that when the prospective person that's put in that spot calls everybody to action, they come. He will suggest, economic growth and ideas and stuff, but it's relatively up to the Mandalorians themselves. He can't just say this is going to happen, that's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. So there's a whole history of what a Mandalore really is. I wonder how long the Vong would have lasted if the Empire was still around. And that's the thing, because they try to say, oh, well, Palpatine was, had information from Thrawn about them, and that's why, another use of the Death Star, blah, 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 blah. But when you listen to conversations, I think it happened to be with Pelion, I believe. I don't remember. I'm recalling Pelion for whatever reason. But there was talk about, oh, well, if the Empire wasn't wiped out, we wouldn't be having this already because they would have wiped out the Vong. And then what was brilliantly brought up to the attention to that comment was the Rebel Alliance was very small faction that defeated the Empire. Think about that. So if they think the Empire was going to be a force to reckon with and defeat the Vong right away, while the very small faction that, was enemies to the Empire was the Rebel Alliance, who defeated them. So there you go. So they're saying that basically the Empire, the New Republic, or not the New Republic, but the Rebel Alliance would fare better against the Vong than the Empire. So there's that little faction of talk. That's not the exact quote. I didn't even think about bringing that up because I didn't realize that we were going to be talking about that. The New Jedi Order can be its own topic here on CAF Chat. I think after we're done here, I think we're going to talk about the New Jedi Order. I think so. So, future thing, if you haven't read the New Jedi Order, read it. So that, and then write down questions. Be like me, in a sense. Like, let me motivate you on taking notes and writing down pivotal, important information. It could be something important to you that catches your interest in the lore or whatever. But let's go ahead, and after we're done with this Smuggler lore talk, probably be about 2 months, I believe, maybe. So I'm not going to do every single Smuggler. I do want to catch some from the Old Republic, but I do want to spend time on them. We'll get to New Jedi Order. So you have time. You can even pick up the books now. It's a huge series. You're going to find some books that are going to be slow. There are some not so well received books, and there's some books that are like phenomenal, like especially in a series that big. So be forewarned. I still recommend reading because they all contribute to each other. They all add to each other and the depth of the New Jedi Order. But anyways, let's get out of this little talk about the New Jedi Order in itself and get back to the Talon Karrde. So, all right. Let me see here. And I think I got that one. Yeah, I got that one. And you can even find them here on YouTube. They're slowly being added on, so check it out. All right, let's get into this. All right, so you guys, that's the end of this right here, but let's get into a little bit more about, we're up on the hour. Okay, so we still have our cringe factor to get into as well. So Talon Karrde, a very interesting character, very business life, like analytical with some morality here. He keeps to his word. That's why he's so trusted, even with his employees he brings in. He creates a sense of like family with them. They trust him. They're very loyal. He's very honest, straightforward. He's not a pushover either. So with all these characteristics I share with you about Talon Karrde, he's not a pushover whatsoever. If he has to kill, he will kill. But he tries to not resort to that. So very interesting character in himself there, in himself. And if they were to ever have written a standalone story for him, I would have picked that up. And with no second thoughts whatsoever. I would have picked it up. I would have read it because, with everything that I've given you here about him in short, just imagine his own standalone type of book and what he may have faced, the challenges, all of that. So, I mean, I would have welcomed it. Would have been necessary? Not really, because he's already phenomenal as he is and being told. But I think that would, even if it's like a short story or like a young adult type book where it's like maybe 300, 200 pages or whatever, I still would have picked it up as long as it's well written. And Zahn is not the only one that, because he's Zahn's creation, but whoever, like most of the authors who took on this character really contributed to his character and understood him so well. So I don't think that there was hardly any missteps with him if someone else had written him. So that's why I'm like, if they would have done a standalone story, I think I would have picked that up. I think I would have. What do you guys think? Now, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to come to... you just like the card for his jacket. Laugh out loud. It's a pretty nice jacket. So grab your pen and papers. We're going to get into this quiz thing here. Then we're going to get into Cringe Factor. Cringe Factor is not a huge, big talk, but it's going to get into the new Jedi Order as well. There's a little theme here going on today that I did not intentionally do or plan for. It's just how it happened. It's the wheel of the Force. If you want to go that way and nerd out about it. Jag says, and the Empire was far less adaptable than the New Republic. At least a tactic-wise, they wouldn't have been nearly as able to counter the Vong. Oh, I like that analogy of yours. Very good. I agree. Yes, his jacket's really good. But I love Merrick's for her, so I could cosplay her. I could easily cosplay her. Her and Jan Ors. I can easily cosplay. So you guys, grab a pen and paper. And you can even answer in the comments here. I wanted this to be fun and interactive, and it's a learning experience more than it is like oh God, she's doing a quiz. Yeah, so grab your pen and paper. I'm going to give you time if you need to refill your beverage. I'm going to go ahead and play one of these little commercials that I have here. So let's go into Vector Prime, since we're talking about the new Jedi Order anyways.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Oh man, that's such a good series. Star by Star is such a good book, but it's so heart-wrenching. All right, you guys. So let's get into this. All right. So this is from, like I said, Insider here. And I thought this would be fun to do. So you probably can't really see the questions here, but I'll read them off to you. And so grab your pen and paper. we'll go with number 1. So Jedi training. And I love how it has the Aberish language or script here too. I'm like using my pencil to point to it and you can't even see my actions. I'm such, yeah. Do you think you know everything about the Star Wars saga? Take our test and find out. Be warned, you'll need Jedi-like skills to answer all the questions correctly. Again, this is just about having fun. You know, it's not like I'm going to judge you for knowing or not knowing, because some of the stuff I don't know either. You write down your answer, and you can even type in your answer as well, because I want you to keep track on how many you got right. Even if you only get one right, that's fine, because it's a learning experience. It's about learning. So section 1 is behind the scenes. Number 1, the shape of the Millennium Falcon above was said to be based on a hamburger. If you didn't know that, there's an interesting fact. But what piece of fruit provided the inspiration to the cockpit? So what piece of fruit provided the inspiration for the cockpit? So taking a look at the cockpit here, I wish I could zoom in on the image here. You can use your phones or whatever to look at the cockpit and put your information down. I didn't look at the answers. I'm being honest here. I didn't look at the answers. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to discover them with you. I only decided this last night, read through some of the questions, and that's it. So go ahead and share. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong or right. It's a learning. We're learning about these interesting facts, what have you. So number 1, this, what piece of fruit provided the inspiration for the cockpit? So, all right. So feel free to answer in the chat too, if you want to. If you guys are just listening in just to find out, we're going to be here for a little bit. Strawberry, we'll find out. Thank you for interacting. I love it. I wanted this to be interactive. Now I'm losing my voice. I don't know why. I'm glad I did a large mug, because now it's like my coffee's not going too quick. Number 2, which part of Anthony Daniels' anatomy was hurt when part of his C-3PO costume shattered on the set of A New Hope? So I don't know if you guys ever watched behind the scenes or the making of or whatever it's called. Can I call a friend or go 50-50? Laugh. You could call a friend. Do whatever you need to do. Soul Assassin. Do whatever you need to do. So what part of Anthony Daniels' anatomy was hurt when his costume shattered on the set of A New Hope? And here's this. All right. Number 3. 42 million what were sold during 1978? So in 1978, there was 42 million sold of a specific item. 42 million what were sold during 1978? That one I don't know. So I'm not saying anything. 42 million what were sold during 1978. So that was maybe t-shirts, maybe. Number 4. On which director was the character Han Solo based? This one I had no idea. On which director was the character of Han Solo based? On which character was, or not character, on which director, sorry, was a character Han Solo based? Hello, Star Wars Marvel Pierce. We are doing a fun quiz to see if we can guess these, just and also a learning experience. So we're on number 4. On which director was the character Han Solo based? Okay. Okay, so where's number 5? Oh, here we go. Tarful's growl as Yoda departs from Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith was first heard coming from Itchy in the Star Wars Holiday Special. True or false? I'm going to type him in here. So Tarful's growl as Yoda departs Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith. First heard, okay, if I could type right. First heard coming from Ichi Baka in the Star Wars Holiday Special. True or false? True or false? So that's number 5. Number 6, Brandon Erickson set a world record by playing the original Star Wars arcade game above. So it's above here. Like, I don't know if you can see my cursor. On a single credit for how long? A, 28 hours. This is on a single credit. Someone played the arcade game. So A, 28 hours, B, 46 hours, or C, 54 hours. Again, Brandon Erickson set a world record by playing the original Star Wars arcade game on a single credit for how long? A, 24 hours, B, 46 hours, or C, 54 hours. So let's see here. This is 6. Brandon, I'm just going to put his first name, set a world record, WR, by playing the OG Star Wars arcade game for how long? I'm just going to put the numbers, 28, and those are hours, 48, or 56, or 54, sorry, 54. There you go. I'm going to do, I got mine. I'm not going to say. Number 7, most stormtroopers are half-headed. What the hell? I can't read. All right. I take that back. I did not say that. Number 7, most stormtroopers are left-handed. True or false? Most stormtroopers, so ST, not ST, what you think it is. Most stormtroopers are left-handed. TRF. So now you got to think about that. Are they? Okay, where's number 8? Oh, number 8 and number 9 are switched around on this one. I don't know if it's an error of theirs because it goes 7, 9, 8, 10. All right, so we'll play with the correct number here. Which is the shortest of 6 live-action Star Wars movies? So this is number 8. Which is the shortest movie? All right, so that should be maybe an easy one. I don't know. I mean, some of you guys are probably on your phones looking it up, like, what are the running time for these movies? I think as we get into the PT, they get a little longer. So that's just my thoughts. So let me see. Like I said, I don't know the answer, so I'm answering them just with you on the spot. What links Greedo to the okay, let me go ahead and type this out as well. What links Greedo to Hovitos, sorry, to the Hovitos from Raiders of the Lost Ark? So I'm going to type this out. What links Greedo to the Hovitos of Raiders of the Lost Ark? Let's see if you guys get that one. That's number 9. Oh, I would just have to press send for that. And number 10, which major character is the last we hear from here in A New Hope? Which major character is the last we hear in A New Hope? I think I know that one. All right, let's see here. All right, so now we're going into section 2 of this. So we're probably going to go over with CAF chat. Maybe we won't do Cringe Factor this time around, but I wanted to touch bases because it is about the new Jedi Order as well. So number 11, let me see here. I'm looking at the book. Let me go ahead and change the page up here. Like you guys can really see the questions. Maybe you can, I don't know. So we're going to section 2, Jedi versus Sith. So number 11, which major character is never mentioned by name in the original trilogy, in the OT? So which major character is never mentioned by name in the OT? I'm guessing on this one. I don't know if you guys will know this one either. Like I said, oh boy. All right. I have kind of two on here because I'm like, are they talking about the original name or just the name in general? So number 11, or no, number 12, I'm sorry. Number 12, because I already typed out number 11. And I'm sorry for the first 4 or 5. I didn't type them out in the comments on the quiz questions. So if you're doing the replay, just listen out for those because number 1 through 5 or 4 are not typed out. Number 12, Shakti shares her name with a creature called a shock. On what planet, oh, we're getting to history, are shocks commonly found? Oh, this gets into the EU a little bit too right there. I can't even type the word name. This is like the 3rd time that I had struggled with the word name. So number 12, Shakti shares her name with a creature called a shock. On what planet are shocks commonly found? Wow. All right. Number 13. Oh, cursor needs to go in the box before I start typing. Which Jedi carried a blistle? That's the spelling of it. Which Jedi carried a blistle? All right. Number 14. In which novel does Obi-Wan wrongly describe disabling a tractor, this should be easy, beam, as not a skill I expect to draw upon? Draw on again. All right. So in which novel does Obi-Wan wrongly describe disabling a tractor beam as not a skill I expected to draw on again? Let me go ahead and send it for you guys. All right, let's see, 15. We're almost done here, I think. Who did Darth, I'm going to put DV for Darth Vader, okay? Who did Darth Vader fight and kill on the planet Dantooine? Oh, we're getting into some lore here. So who did Darth Vader fight and kill on the planet Dantooine? Number 15. All right. Number 16. I'm typing these out too, so you guys can take a look at the screen. Who is missing from not form, from this list. So here we go. Anakin. So AS is Anakin Skywalker. Okay, who is missing from this list? Who is missing from this list? Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. R2 and I'm just typing them there a quick way. 3PO. So who is missing from this list? Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, R2, and C3PO. I don't particularly understand this question. Maybe you guys do. So who is missing from this list? Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, R2, D2, and C3PO. We'll find out number 16 what exactly they mean here. I don't know. And let's see here. Ahsoka. You had to throw that in there, huh, Ahsoka? All right, so section 3, read all about it. So read all about it. We have 6 sections here. Wow. But some of them, there's only a few questions in each. So we're going on to number 17. So we're all in the blank on that number 16 one there. So we'll find out when we go over the answers. Which book had the working titles Wild Card and we just talked about that, Emperor's Hand. So which book had the working titles Wild Card and the Emperor's Hand? We were just talking about that. So this is number 17. There we go. Which book had the working titles Wild Card and Emperor's Hand? All right. 18. Which author created and posed for the collectible card game version of Talon Karrde? I didn't even plan, like I said, I didn't plan this. So which author created and posed for the collectible card game version of Talon Karrde? And number 17, which book, and it just says single, which book had the working titles Wild Card and Emperor's Hand? Okay. And let's see here, number 19. We'll find out some of this if you're kind of confused. Like I said, this is all learning experience, like all aha moments, like, oh shit, this is what they meant kind of deal. Let's see here, number 19. And so if you're catching this on the replay, this would be fun just to follow along and find out too. Whom did Han Solo remark he was even ugly as a baby? Oh my god, I think I know that one, but I'm not saying anything. Like I said, I don't know the answers. I didn't take a look at the answers. I don't know, but I think I know. All right, so that's section 3, a little bit about the books. So number 17, which book had the working titles Wild Card and Emperor's Hand? Which author created and posed for the collectible card game version of Talon Karrde? And number 19, about whom did Han Solo remark he was even ugly as a baby? That's funny. 20. What species was Ree's? So what species was Ree's? And in this image, it says it's shown above right. So what species is Ree's? If you guys don't know species, then you'll find out once we get into the answers. And that's okay. Like I said, this is all learning experience. We all learned more. We're like, oh shit, I didn't know that. I thought this kind of deal. All right, 21. The Gamorrean, I always spelled Gamorrean wrong. And I spell a lot of things wrong, but that's just me. Pilot Vort Ring was a member of which squadron? I know. So the Gamorrean pilot Vort Binring was a member of which squadron? So I know that one. And that was number 21. All right. It should be, yep, it's the three-eyed alien there. Yeah. But what was the species name? What was the species? The Jedi lightsaber form. So getting into lightsaber form. Sorsu has an alternative name derived from a creature. You guys might know this. What is it called? This is fun, you guys. I'm really nerding out on these, even though I don't know them. I'm really having a good time. I don't know about you. If you are not, I'm sorry. This is just me nerding out about Star Wars, and I'm enjoying this. So the Jedi lightsaber form, and like when I read through things, I'm like, I wish I had like some of you guys here with me, and I'm like, I should do this live. But when I read things like Insider or the Star Wars Galaxy one, I'm like, damn, this would be fun to discuss on CAF chat and stuff like that, and really just get in and dive into a lot further information and stuff. So what lightsaber form Sorsu has an alternative name derived from a creature? What is it called? So that's number 22. 23. Pliff was a member of which species? Another species callback. So Pliff, who is above now with the other character that's above in the top center here. Pliff, or no, actually it's below. I'm so sorry. Nah, I take that back. Pliff below was a member of which species? So that's the character below the question here in the yellow box. So what species is that? What species is that? So now we're going into section 5 for number 24, places and spaces. Number 25, places and spaces. What was Mount Dagger on Dagobah renamed as? What was Mount Dagger on Dagobah renamed as? That's number 25. Number 25. All right. Number 26. Is it Irkit or Recrit or yeah, I know what you're saying. I can't even pronounce the damn thing. Let me take a sip of coffee because my mind is like going a mile a minute because I just enjoy this kind of stuff. So weird. I'm so weird, but I know you guys are enjoying this because at least join me having a good time. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is all interesting. So again, you could put out answer. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong because you won't know. But just thinking about, like, what is that character species name or whatever, even if you got the spell wrong or the name wrong or whatever. So number 26. Yeah, we're on number 26. Which fearsome creature lives mainly on Dathomir? Okay. Oh, this one's an easy one. Which fearsome creature mainly lives on Dathomir? Weird. That's an understatement. Well, thank you so much. Okay, number 27. We're coming on to the last section of here. It's section 6, and then we'll get into Cringe Factor after we go over the answers as well. So hopefully you're at least writing down the numbers and writing down your answers so you were like, oh shit, I got that wrong or whatever. The real Dathomir, yes. Vebtrist is... What is that? Vebtrist? What is a Vebtrist? The real Dathomir, correct. The real Dathomir. Okay, number 27. If, this is in quotes. Yeah, this is a quote. So this is section 6 is complete these quotes. All right. So complete these quotes. Again, I'm still going to type out. So give me some time. Quote, if the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout. So you guys are probably recalling readout of this station. It is possible, however, I can't type. However, what is new, huh? Unlikely that they, so complete this quote, complete these quotes. So here we go. Number 27. This is the section, complete the quotes. If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of the station, and I'm already seeing the scenario played out from the movie of the station, it is possible, however, unlikely that they, so complete that quote. I'll give you a second or two. Number 28, and again, it's written typed out here, so if you're still thinking and trying to or searching up the answer, because I'm not here to like monitor you, so if you're still trying to search up the answer, that's fine. So complete these quotes. Number 28, if extra bonus if you could tell who's talking, who's saying the quote from me. Extra bonus points if you can name the person speaking these quotes. Okay. If fate is looking for something to humble. Okay, let me go ahead and write that exactly how it's put in the quote. If fate is looking for something to humble Skywalker. Oh, this one's going to be a little bit more difficult. Hint, this is from my book because under the quotes, it gives who is saying the quotes and where they come from. So let me see, number 28. Is that the right one? Oh, that's number 29. So let me do 28 and we'll get back to 20. Let me post this 29. So I typed in, I jumped ahead. This is number 29, and then I'll do 28. So 29, quote, if fate is looking for something to humble Skywalker. So this one here is from my book. Now I'm going to go back to 28. But I did jump ahead. Sorry about that. I apologize. Now number 28. So number 29, hint, it's from a novel. But he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him. And again, this one is from a movie. But he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him, and finish that quote. So number 30. Again, I'm writing these out or typing these out. So I'm not going to try to, hang on to these for too long because, like I said, we have Cringe Factor to get through. We're going to run over time here, and that's okay. I normally don't like to go over 2 hours, but sometimes we do it, and that's fine. So 28, 29, we're on number 30. Back to the correct order. Again, complete these quotes. This one's a longer one. The historical records will claim. Again, if you can tell the book and who said it, extra bonus points from me. Claim that the Rebel Alliance was born on Corellia. Let me go ahead and separate that. We're born on Corellia. That is a documented fact. But the truth is this. The Rebel Alliance, and I'm speaking as I type out, I'm sorry, was born in the Sparl system aboard. And that is the quote here. So this one right here, another one that comes from Hint a Comic, number 30. The historical records will claim that the Rebel Alliance was born on Corellia. So that might be a hint on where this comes from in a sense. That is a documented fact. But the truth is the Rebel Alliance was born in the Scarl system aboard. So there you go. All right. So those are all the quiz questions here. We went through the different sections like the Jedi versus Sith, read all about it, alien encounter, places and spaces, complete these quotes. So really pushing everybody to really think of like where they may have heard or what they may have think that this means or whatever, what species it is, whatever, like the alien encounters. So let's get into, feel free to scroll up and down to get to the questions again and review them real quick. But we are going to get into the answers too. So again, bonus points for if you can name the source at the and complete these quotes, who said that and all of that, and we'll reveal that here pretty soon. So, and I'm glad that some of you guys interacted. Hopefully you guys wrote them down. And if you didn't, you still maybe want to go ahead and, take down the answers. However, the answers I am going to share here. The answer is in this little gray box, but it's upside down, but I did corrected that, put it right side up. So here we go. Let me go ahead and give this a full screen opportunity here. There we go. So behind the scenes, number 1, it says an olive. So I don't know, like maybe some of you, I know one says cherry. It's an olive. I don't know why I said banana, but that's just me. So the correct answer is an olive. Number 2, foot. So those who got that right, woo, yay. And then number 3, 42 million Star Wars action figures. That's when George became separate from any other franchise and used his franchise to sell merch. 42 million Star Wars action figures. So those who may have said action figures or figures or whatever, you got that right. Number 4, Francis Ford Coppola. I did see someone answer that right. They said Coppola. You got that right. If you didn't, that's okay. If you didn't know, now you know. Number 5, true. So whoever said true, I did as well. Coppola, I didn't get. I was like, I couldn't think about it. Well, maybe it's Coppola since someone answered it, but I didn't write it down because I wasn't too sure for myself. I'm not the kind of person that's like, I'm going to copy their answer. Maybe I'll get it right. No, if I'm not sure, I'm trying to be honest with myself. And I didn't write that one down. Number 6, C554. So number C, so 54 hours. So that's like how long he played with a single credit on that Star Wars arcade game. 54 hours. I did 56 or 46. I'm sorry. So I got that one wrong. Number 7 is true. Got that one right. Now, number 8, Greedo's language was taken from the same dialect as the Hovito. So basically, it's the language. When it asked what of Greedo's was similar to the Jovitos, it's the language. So I didn't know what that was. So that was number 8, correct. Yeah, 54, that's insane. I agree, that is insane. Number 9, A New Hope. Number 10, Chewbacca. Oh, I got that one right. Actually, I got both right. Okay. And so for the Jedi versus Sith portion, because we already did behind the scenes one, Jedi versus Sith, number 11, Palpatine. So if you said Palpatine, I was going between Palpatine and then I asked the question, well, are they talking about their actual name? Like, are, from using a nickname. And I also was thinking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Palpatine is right. I put Palpatine or Obi-Wan and I had a question mark there. So those who wrote Palpatine, congratulations. Those who didn't know, now you know. Number 12 is Naboo. I did see people answering that one right in the question, the thing. I got that right too. Number 13, if we all put Yoda, that is right. And then number 14th, Labyrinth of Evil. Labyrinth of Evil. So number 14, let's see here. Did I even put number 14 down? Or did I skip? Oh yeah. In which novel does Obi wrongly describe disabling? Yeah, so it's Labyrinth of Evil. Labyrinth of Evil is that novel, Jedi versus Sith. Number 15, a clone of himself. So number 15, Vader fought a clone of himself. So if you put a clone, then you got it right. So it's very vague, but you still in Galaxy of Fear. So if you've read Galaxy of Fear series, you would know that answer. Number 16, Obi-Wan Kenobi. They are the only characters who appear in all 6 movies. Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we have, so how did they word number 16 that I was confused on? Because I kind of read that in a confusing way. Who is missing from this list? So that's what they said. They didn't say who appeared in all the movies. So that was very vague. So if you guys didn't understand like I did, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi because they all appeared in the movies, like all 6 movies. So Vader, Anakin, R2 and C-3PO, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there you go. So that one was, like I said, a little bit of confusing. Now we're on Read All About It. Smash like, yes. Just reread Labyrinth. Surprised I missed that. Yeah, you'll be surprised. Like Matt Wilkins, he's doing his reread and he's still discovering things that he's missed reading those novels before. So like I said, when you go back and reread and revisit these, you're always going to pick up something new. That's why I always encourage, always reread, always go back and read. You're always finding out about something new. So where we at, read all about it. So number 17 was Heir to the Empire. Heir to the Empire. Number 18, Timothy Zahn. Let me see. I want to go back to those questions here. Oh, I'm scrolling up because it's easier for me. I don't know why. So 17, which book had the working titles Wild Card and Emperor's Hand? So their working title means that that's not their initial title. It's just something that, is played around with. Heir to the Empire, basically. So hint, it had to do with Zahn. So that's the correct, or that's number 18, sorry. So which author created, or number 18, which author created the and posed for the collection card game version of Talon Karrde? That was Timothy Zahn. So Timothy Zahn posed as Talon Karrde, if you did not know that. Very interesting, right? And number 19, about whom did Han Solo remake? Or remark. Sorry about that. Let me reread that. About whom did Han Solo remark? He was even ugly as a baby. Palpatine. So he was talking about Palpatine. Number 19, it was about Palpatine. And it's from Aliens Encounter. Number 20, what species was Reyes? He was a Gran. So he was a Gran. Okay. So number 21, and that one should have been easy if you read the Rogue Squadron. The Gamorrean pilot Vort Sudbenring was a member of which squadron? That was the Wraith Squadron. That was for me, it was very easy. If you're really well versed with the Rogue Squadron series, you would have known that. If not, then you know now. And I recommend going back and reading that. Okay, number 22. The Jedi lightsaber form, Soresu, has an alternative name derived from a creature. What is it called? So number 22, the Way of the Minoc. So basically it's the Minoc. So the Way of the Minoc. I just put Minoc, but it's the Way of the Minoc. But they're asking what species is it called? You'll refer to Minoc. So if you just put Minoc, you still got it right. They just called it the Way of the Minoc. Number 23, Pliff was a member of which species? The Hojibs. And so the Hojibs. So that's what Pliff is a part of. The Hojibs. Now going on to number 20. I did skip over number 24, I think. It looks like that. Holy crap. Let me see here. Number 24. If I did and you guys are keeping count, I am sorry. No, I did right. Oh, it's just my number placement here. So number 25 was supposed to be number 24. What was Mount Dagger on Dagobah renamed as? And this is places and spaces. Mount Yoda. So Mount Dagger was renamed to Mount Dagger. Or Dagger was named as Mount Yoda. And then since I'm off count here, I'm so sorry. Number 25. Which fearsome creature mainly lives on Dathomir? Oh, I did skip over one. Holy shit. The one I skipped over, we'll get back to number 26, is number 25. Due to his high number of shipwrecks, which moon has been compared to as the desert island in space? And that's called the moon of Endor. So number 25, due to its high number of shipwrecks, which moon has been compared as a desert island in space? And that is the moon of Endor. So I did skip over number 25 because of my miscalculation on my numbering here. I'm so sorry. So if you guys are doing the quiz in the replay, that's what happened to number 25 when we get to number 25, number 24. All right, now number 26, here we are. Which fearsome creature mainly lives on Dathomir? And that's the Rancor. Now, complete the following quotes. And I get back on track with the numbers here. All right. So the quote here, if rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of the station, it is possible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness and exploit it. And that is from, of course, Cassio Tage, Star Wars A New Hope. You guys are probably looking at me like, look at Laura, she just screws this shit up. And I think, and then we'll go to number 28 since I got that confused there. And I already typed out number 29. So I'm jumping back and forth here in the comments. Number 28, but he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him, and then it's like, well, arrogant. So those who put arrogant, you are right. And that is from Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars, Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones. Now, number 29. If fate is looking for something to humble Skywalker, I confess myself willing to volunteer. That's number 29, and that's Count Dooku, Yoda, Dark Rendezvous. If fate is looking for something to humble Skywalker, I confess myself willing to volunteer. So there we go. And the last one of the quote part of this little section here, it's the longest one too. Number 30, the historical records will claim that the Rebel Alliance was born on Corellia. This is documented fact, but the truth is the Rebel Alliance was born in the Scarl system aboard. And let me go ahead and take this off because I don't think, Darth Vader's personal starship, the Executor. And that is Proxy Star Wars, the Force Unleashed comic. So there you have it with my little screw up there. And I don't think we didn't even catch up onto that. We didn't even realize that I screwed up and left out number 24. So we're just not playing with number 24. Skip it, screw it, whatever. Let's see here. You can reread Plagueis 10 times and miss shit. Laugh out loud. I agree with that. The book is dense with lore. And then Claus reading is power. Any Schoolhouse Rock fans in the chat? Oh, Cause reading, because Cause reading is power. I knew it was one of the Thrawn trilogy books. Yeah, that was a hint when you read the name, like Wild Card and stuff like that. Let's see here. Y'all get the Golden Nerd Herd Award. Congrats! Yeah, the Golden Nerd Herder Award. There we go. Well, at least I got a few right? I mean, this is fun. You got to learn things here. You got to test your knowledge and really think, okay, so what movie was this from? What novel was this from? Who was saying this quote? What species is this? Or what place is this? Very fun thing to do. If I run across more of these, we're going to do these in the futures because I really like this, and I will try my best to stay in order. I will try my best to stay in order. Surprise, I was right on some of them, yes. And then talking about trivial and obscure for some of that. Ha ha ha. Yeah. So that was fun here. I think I'll post this on Twitter in my community page so that you guys can and I won't do the layout here that's on my PowerPoint. I will share the actual screenshots or the images that I added to the PowerPoint so that you guys can take it and print it out or whatever. And maybe no, I won't do PDF, but I will make sure it's high resolution. And then so you can print it out, save it for yourself, use it as maybe a icebreaker thing with your friends if they're big Star Wars fans. I don't know. That's just something fun to do. Need to test Open Airlock and Matt Wilkins. I know. Maybe I'll get them together and we'll do this. But then again, they can come back and read this. But that would be fun. I got over half right. So that's a plus. Yes, check out my community. All right, you guys, let's get into this cringe factor. We'll probably spend a little bit, like a half an hour on it. So we're going to go half an hour, and then I'm going to get ready to go to the gym. My photo shoot's coming in, up in less than 7 weeks now. I'm on track with how I want to look and feel with my body, but I just want to be my fittest looking for the photo shoot and stuff like that. So, and then even after it's done, I'm still going to maintain my goals and stuff and my gains from keeping my body healthy and my and everything. So there you go. So with that being said, making sure that this thing won't mess up on me, we're going to get into cringe factors. So let me go ahead and remove this. Don't need you no more. And let me go ahead and pull up another little small commercial. Speaking of Boba Fett.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave One, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
So uncivilized.
I don't know if that jumped on you, but that jumped on me. So I don't know if you got the whole little cringe factor like video thing on that. That was weird. It like went from the beginning to the end. And we didn't hear, it's so uncivilized. Well, anyways, let's get into this here. Cringe factor. We're getting into a bit of New Jedi Order lore here with what Screen Rant has to say. So let me go ahead and get into the tab and unhighlight that. So 21 years ago, Star Wars completely redefined the Force. I wonder what they're talking about. We'll get into that. We'll see if you agree with this. We'll see if you agree with this person's point, if he's on point with this, or it's just bullshit. So, and they're asking, why didn't it stick? So basically 21 years ago, Star Wars completely redefined the Force. Why didn't it stick? Star Wars introduced a new version of Force in the 2002 that could have redefined the mystical energy field, but Lucasfilm scrapped the idea. And this is from Nathaniel Rourke. So this is published 3 days ago. We have the image of Jason Solo here. So let's get into this. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can close out the stupid ad. No, it's not going to let me. This one will. All right. Let's go ahead and zoom in. I don't want to see Ahsoka. Okay. The Star Wars franchise nearly redefined the Force forever over 2 decades ago. But this, and you'll see what they're going to get into, what character they're talking about, all of this as we move along. But this new approach was quickly abandoned. Had Lucasfilm committed to this alternate view of the Force, there would have been countless directions for Star Wars and many exciting stories to be told. Now, keep that in mind as we go along in this article. If they kept the direction of how they're defining the Force, would it mess up the movies? Would it contradict the movies? Would it ruin the continuity or lore-wise with the Force? We will get into that discussion. At the same time, many fans would have rejected the idea. I wonder, these longtime fans that got into the EU got into it because of the lore, the continuity, and being consistent with the movies, even if they don't reference the movies. It still had to make sense to what George brought to us on the screen. And I think you guys all believe that, have the similar belief with me, or we wouldn't have cared how and which direction Disney has been taking the lore itself. Believing Star Wars had abandoned a fundamental aspect of the Force. No, what they're talking about is not a fundamental aspect of the Force. It was an idea going and being played around with a certain character and her manipulation. So in the new Jedi Order, I might be throwing hints out to you guys. So let's get into this here. Let me see. I need to scroll up. Okay, there we go. Let's see here. Star Wars didn't redefine, while Star Wars didn't redefine the Force, the influence of the new approach still affects the franchise today. So in this statement, in the paragraph above, it's saying it did redefine the Force for that time being. Now it's saying it didn't. I swear sometimes these authors cannot keep to their point. Star Wars fans have always debated balance in the Force. We understood what balance in the Force is and has always been. The debate started happening when we seen Disney Star Wars changing the Force and what it means and who can use it. And the movies and TV shows continue exploring different concepts. And I just got into that. This is the reason why it's debated. Disney is screwing up George's vision of the Force. The upcoming we're not going to talk about that. So here we go. We have Traitor. I haven't really asked you guys who has read New Jedi Order and especially who has read Traitor. So let me know in the comments and we'll move on here pretty soon. I just want to see what's going on in the chat with you guys. Let's see here. Come on. Come on, work with me. I miss the old Lego Star Wars. Let's see here. And sounds like a George was an idiot propaganda article. We'll get into that. Rodimus Prime, what's up? Another channel member tuning in. We are hanging out a little bit later than normal, so grab your drink. We just got into Cringe Factor. This should be fun. This is where the fun begins, right? And I say that in a kind of a sarcastic way. It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time. So let me go back to the screen here. Star Wars, The New Jedi Order Traitor by Matthew Stover, which I like a lot of his work in the EU. My favorite novel of his, though, is the movie novelization, which basically, just like George did with the PT, the movie novelization uses a lot of EU material. So making the EU canon, if people think that it was never canon before. He saw Jedi Knight Jason Solo imprisoned by the Yuuzhan Vong, where a mysterious woman called V'ger. So if you guys haven't guessed it already, who is going to be talked about, it's V'ger. I've been in countless debates, going back, our conversations about Viger and who she really was supposed to be. So Viger introduced him to a philosophy known as the potentium. And the potentium, basically, there is no light, there's no dark, there's just the force kind of deal, in a sense. Like, there's gray areas, basically, and it's how you use it and your intention. So that's the potentium, which George made it clear. It's how you use the force, and how you use the force also determines, like, light and dark. So using the dark side of the force, greed, anger, fear, all of that. And the light side is about not being selfish, blah, 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 blah. We all know that conversation George gave. So they were exploring, with this character only, her philosophy. And she contradicted, she confused, she lied to, gave vague explanations to, basically to screw with Jason Solo's head. If you haven't read that story, and she allowed the torture. So this is where we get into, she was never dark side, she was never Sith, blah, blah, blah. A Jedi would never allow torture. A Jedi would never have these type of beliefs that she's given to Jason Solo. She is manipulating him and using the force to manipulate him, because we all know that Jason was already questioning about the force beforehand. And, like, is it really this way? I want to explore. And we all know that after New Jedi Order, he went on a sabbatical to really get into and explore the Force with different Force societies and how it's used and stuff like that. Another complete story that we can talk about later. The Jedi Order firmly believed there was an external light and dark side of the Force, and that's what the Sith and others believe. There are some Force societies that believe it's like a rainbow or whatever. We're not going to get into that right now. But Viger gradually convinced Jason that light and dark was internal concepts. And in a way it is, but when you go into the eternal self and you go into greed, hate, all of this stuff, and when you use the Force, you're using the dark side of the Force, bad intentions, all of that. She was adamant that there was no literal light or dark side, and that the person's actions determined whether the Force was good or bad. Not necessarily. Jason embraced this as the unifying force and temporarily convinced Luke Skywalker to allow students to explore that concept. So we do see that little bit of the evolution there a little bit, and then Luke steers everybody back to the belief or the true meaning of the Force. Basically, it steers back to George Lucas's intentions of the Force here. So what do you guys think about that so far? Let me see. Let's see here. OG, what's your favorite Star Wars EU TV show? EU TV show? What do you mean, like fan made? Because if there's a TV show, or are you talking about like the Ewoks and the droids and stuff like that? I like the Ewoks. That's just me. All right. Take a lot of preparation to reread a longer arc. Laugh out loud. Yes, it does. And I'm encouraging you guys, if you haven't read, pick it up. The New Jedi Order series. If you need, you can even start listening to them on YouTube, which, here we go. Thank you so much. And pick them up, because like I said, in a couple months, after we get through all this Smugglers series runs that I'm doing here for CAF Chat, exploring the Smuggler lore, characters within the Smuggler ring, I guess you can say, then we'll get into New Jedi Order. So there's a bit of schedule there. So if you want to bring it, if you want to get involved and further study up your knowledge, pick up the books. You don't have to. I'm just suggesting. I should be like a teacher. Damn it, your next assignment, get started on it now. Starting with Vector Prime, pick up the book. But I'm not. So, but I do recommend it. Again, you'll find books that you like more than the others, because it's a 19 book series. So there's a lot. Ooh, okay. And then the debate started with Filoni and his inability to understand that Lucas was telling him and the others on the round table. Correct. And let's see here. I just saw a video of Matt Wilkins' Trader review. He was so young. I know, his first one, huh? His first one. Oh my God. When he went through New Jedi Order, he dressed up. He made a huge event about it because that's his favorite series. Like, I go between Legacy of the Force and New Jedi Order as favorite series. But Matt Wilkins, he just like dressed up for that, had a whole video commentary on it. Very fun to watch. Very fun. Very fun. TCW Jedi tortured Cad Bane with the Force. Yeah, we know what TCW has done. Let's see here. The New Jedi Order audios. Thank you. OG, what's something you don't agree with Matt Wilkins in terms of EU? I don't agree with his point on Tatooine Ghost. I like that. He's like, oh, well, Troy Denning seen the opportunity to start using the PT. So, blah, 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 blah. It was very contrived using the PT material now that it was open for authors to use it, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was a great way to integrate to how Leia discovered about her grandmother Shmi and then also how her true demeanor of her father and how he was a hero on Tatooine at the time. That helped her make peace. So that's where I disagree with him on that. And that's fine. And that's fine because we all have books we like and dislike, and we may not all agree with those choices. If we sit down and talk to a group, like one book I like, you may not care for. And that goes with Matt Wilkins too. So that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Let's see here. Okay. So why Lucasfilm backed out of the Potentium? So like I said, this cringe factor is not as cringy as the other ones, but I just wanted to touch basis on this because we are seeing like an idea that Lucasfilm pre-Disney explored for a certain character. And now we're seeing that this is being used for the Disney lore. And when we look at this character, Vergere, who's manipulating Jason, allowing him to be tortured, all of that, it's per her character arc, her belief. It's not a reflection of what the Force is in the overall lore and what George's intentions are. So there's this distinct difference between that. But now we're seeing it with how Disney Lucasfilm is, interpreting the lore. So very interesting to why this article was made. And when you look at the scheme of things, it's pointing directions to Disney Lucasfilm. And I've always loved this image of Luke on Zonama Sikot with all his Jedi and all this other stuff. And he's basically, even though he hasn't fully declared himself or became Grandmaster, this is him as Grandmaster without even speaking the title just yet. Love that image. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit bigger on this here. However, the Star Wars expanded universe abandoned the Potentium as quickly as it been introduced because there's a reason. That's because it didn't fit George's idea of what the Force is. You can explain it. You can explore a character's view of the Force. Like we have Force societies that view the Force differently, but in reality, it's what the Force really means to the creator and to the franchise, right? And it had been, returning to the classic view of the Force in the trilogy that followed the New Jedi Order series. Many readers were disappointed that Star Wars had introduced a fascinating new view of the Force that was just pertaining to the character, and then it did influence Jason a bit, but again, it contradicted on what Lucas wanted the Jedi to focus on, only to get cold feet. No, not necessarily cold feet. Like I said, it went against the overall lore of the Force. It was an interesting concept that was explored, which is fine. You can do, especially when it comes to a character who's manipulating someone, but it doesn't mean that this should be a change, or rightfully so, and return to the same old formula. again because it went against George's lore. Even so, it likely made sense from Lucasfilm's point of view, as the potentium was too different from how the movies portrayed the Force. Exactly. Audiences who watch the films and then read the books would be confused when the Force no longer operated light and dark. And this is George's explanation on light and dark. We're not going to really play that. And intriguing as potentium is, the truth is that it's radically clashes with George Lucas's explanation, and I just already went through that. Lucas acknowledged that the existence of light and the dark side that needed to be kept in balance, but he still believed that the light was the better path to follow. Basically, the light is the balance, really. And the movies also, so like when you see, and I did my research, I really need to do a video on this since people are talking about the Force, what is light and dark, and it's always, especially with the direction Disney's taken that concept or that lore bit, and people are talking about it, pertaining to George and stuff like that. But when the Force is mentioned, like even in the OT, like I said, I did my research, I need to go ahead and just do a video on it. So when the Force is mentioned in like the OT and stuff like that, and then they say balance, Force, the balance of the Force, and like when they mention Force, the Force is light. So without saying the word light, when they mention for the Force, that's the light side. That's why there's the Force and there's the dark side in the beginning. Because the Force initially is light. And then when you start getting corrupted and stuff like that, that's when you go dark. So there's that explanation in short. As a Jedi Order that falsely believes, let me see where anyway. The movies also make it clear that that while living beings create and influence the Force, well, living beings can't create the Force. They can be influenced by the Force and trained to use it. The Force can affect people in return. So living beings can't create the Force, but yes, they are influenced by the Force, and it affects the people, which you have to have training to use it, to be affected by it, I guess you can say. A Jedi Order that falsely believes there is no dark side would succumb to its influence and give into selfishness, throws the Force out of balance more than embracing the light. The potentium hearsay still impacts Star Wars today. And like I said, we're going to get into this because look who's here right here. They're giving her the title of New Jedi Order founder, as you can see here, which is completely fucking bullshit. Again, another aspect taken away from Luke Skywalker. Like, she was handed everything that was Luke and Han and Leia earned through the EU, through their time frames, and she's just given it. And everybody else is like erased from that path. They had to kill him off. And now she's got it. Again, never earning nothing like that. Never earning nothing. Anything. The Prime Jedi mural of Octu on in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, the full lore, and Luke describing balance as powerful light, powerful darkness. Again, there you go. Are very potentium-like. So like I said, this is the direction Disney's taking Star Wars with the Force. That's why I wanted to touch basis on this article, because I think it's very important to address this. Star Wars Rebels Season 3 also explored this version of balance to introduce the Bendu, which I did not agree with. I kind of followed that storyline because I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? Implying that Star Wars could be succumbing to the potentium heresy. Even so, Star Wars: The Rise of Palpatine returned to a focus on Jedi upholding the light, and Kanan rejecting Bendu's view on staying neutral because he believed in helping others. So staying neutral, okay, so isn't like the potentium basically neutral thoughts of like there's no dark or light? So I don't know if this person like proofread what they said. More or less, he would have to say Kanan rejected Bendu's view. So I don't know. Oh, okay, I misread that. But yeah, he rejected Bendu's view on staying neutral. Okay, yeah, so sorry about that. That's me. I admit it, because he believed in helping others. Well, it didn't they're saying, and this goes into the gray Jedi bullshit, that in that neutral state or that gray state or whatever, they still helped but their actions, whether right or wrong, as long as they're helping others, it didn't matter which side they used. That's what they're saying. So I don't, again, this person's probably confused on a person's actions and stuff like that, and that this potentium in this gray area, this moral ambiguity, would be helping someone without considering one's actions, I guess you can say, which is very wrong, because the actions that the person carries out will determine if they're light or dark. While ignoring the existence of the dark side is dangerous, a similar philosophy could work in Star Wars Disney lore. In Star Wars Legends, Dawn of the Jedi era, and I know Open Airlock Policy Tim to discuss this a little bit on his EU talk Sunday, I believe it was. The ancient Jedi Order embraced balance between the light and the dark, which we know well. This is the Dawn of the Jedi. Unlike the Potentium, this view acknowledged that the existence of literal light and dark side, but the Jedi believed it was dangerous to believe to. But did he? Dawn of the Jedi? Did he go over Dawn of the Jedi? I know there's a book. Oh no, it's not the this is okay, so I take that back. He was talking about the book that has Kanan and Kanan in them. That first book that came out for the Disney EU. But this is the Dawn of the Jedi with some confusing names. I'm sorry, you guys. This is the Dawn of the Jedi. That's original EU stuff. Yeah. So, but basically, yes, they had the light and the dark and stuff, and there was a split between the factions eventually. So if you know the history of the Jedi and how people like the Jedi, some of them were embracing the dark side and they were basically exiled, you will understand the story. But the Jedi believed it was dangerous to delve deeply into either. They recognized that light and dark existed in all things. So leaning too much to either side would destroy the sacred balance. Lucas would probably disagree with this prospect, but it would still be fascinating if James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie explored it, allowing Star Wars to reject the potentium once and for all. So, but isn't the potentium basically, that balance, I guess you could say, in between? Whatever. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is another hint of like where Disney's going with how this person wrote this article? Yeah, it's a new dawn. Yes, thank you so much. New dawn. So I got the Dawn of Jedi and a new dawn confused because of the word dawn. I apologize. I do. But what do you guys think about this? Oh my gosh, cringe. They really hate Luke. I agree. I disagree with Matt Wilkins with the book Shatterpoint. He hates it all because it's first person. Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's why he hates iJedi. I think first person, iJedi is first person as well. So he's pretty consistent on that. I rather enjoyed iJedi. I can't wait to read Shatterpoint. Let me see here. Never heard hardcore EU fans tout Dawn of the Jedi. Laugh out loud. One of the worst EU books in my opinion. And that's what I'm hearing. I haven't fully read through it. I didn't finish it, but I understand there's an evolution of the Jedi pertaining to the light and dark side. There's a split. There's a chasm. There's a split. And because they couldn't maintain balance, you either a light side or your dark side. That's impossible to be in between. I think it could have been written better. Yeah. Comic series is better, way better. I agree. And again, I'm sorry. I was like, Dawn of the Jedi, a new dawn. It's a new dawn. See, I even confuse shit, and I'm sorry. Diddly Squat, I can't think right now. The cringe is too strong. The cringe is too strong in this article. Ancient Tython was very sensitive, and I was going to get to that, so thank you. We're on the same footing here. To the amount of whatever side the force is, neutral, disasters and mad creatures and all. Yeah. So Tython, it's weird how things are. You can't just have one side of the force. I mean, it's I need to really sit down. We really need to talk about Tython, the planet, as well. It's very interesting, but also sensitive. It's weird. It's a crazy. So if you thought Zonama Seacot was crazy, Tython is that crazy type planet too. It's not sentient like Zonama Seacot, but the force affects Tython in so many ways. So many ways. Let's see here. Dawn of the Jedi book was not the best, but I really liked the comics. Yeah, and that's the consensus that I hear from a lot of people. I didn't finish Dawn of the Jedi because I couldn't get through it, but I did explore the lore behind it, so I understood what was going on. You know, because you can do that. Dawn of the Jedi had potential, just needed to expand and explain more, then be shortened because of the Disney buyout. Yeah, you might have a point there. So, like I said, Screen Rant and their writers kind of point you in the direction and kind of tell on Disney, Star Wars, Disney, Lucasfilm on where they're going with the lore by just exploring like what had occurred in the EU from the past, and then start taking it and talking about it being used in Disney Star Wars. And so you'll see those hints of truth. And that's why I like to share Screen Rant, CBR, all of them for Cringe Factor, because then we can explore Tython video, perhaps, maybe. We can explore what's going on with these articles. We can cringe, make fun of the person who's writing it. I don't know. And then we also can explore, okay, is there some truth to this on the direction that Disney's going? And more than likely, yes, there's truth to what they're sharing on the direction of Disney Star Wars. So it kind of keeps you in the know a little bit. It kind of hints, and then you can say, and then like a month or two later, you're like, oh shit, we covered that on Cringe Factor. Laura was right in looking at these articles and calling them out. Yeah. And then Tython used on Mandalorian, I believe, or Book of Boba Fett, or whatever, which one is like they have the cross reference with characters there. I think that was kind of weird for them to go on Tython like that and not be affected by the Force. I don't know, that's just me, but that's getting into the lore that was established with Tython. Shatterpoint is overrated in my honest opinion. Laugh out loud. I'm sounding like an EU hater today. Just coincidentally, two of the books I dislike the most. That's okay. That's fine. Like I said, everybody has their likes and dislikes with EU novels, series, what have you, or within the series, and that's perfectly fine. We're all not going to agree, and that's fine too. But the thing is, we're here talking about it, discussing it. There's still some valuable lower points and even books you may not like and willing to explore, and it all contributes to the greater historical events in Star Wars, and that's amazing. So what do you guys think about this? Are we going to see this potential, like there is no light, there is no dark, or balances in light and dark, potentium kind of philosophy of the Force? I mean, already they've been exploring it and going further and further away from George's purposes of the Force, and that goes with who can use the Force by ignoring the midichlorians and just using the straight on, the Force flows through everything. That means everybody can use a Force. And no, it does not. No, it does not. You still have to have a certain amount of midichlorians to to use a Force, but you just can't use it. You have to have training, focus, all of that. That's something that's been established since the OT, into the PT, and into the EU. Whether, the midichlorians were spoken about in the OT, it doesn't matter. It's understood that a potential needs to be trained. And that potential then was given more explanation on midichlorian counts in The Phantom Menace. And I think right now, whether you like midichlorians or not, that is an interesting sticking point that now you got to defend, because Disney's taken the lore with the Force users in a whole complete new direction away from what George intended. Who would think those who didn't care for the midichlorians concept would have to use it to defend Star Wars, right? That's just the world we're in today. That was not Tython in the Book of Boba Fett. It was the mid-rim. Yeah, the show is flawed. Yeah, it was. They moved Tython to the mid-rim in there too, not even thinking about where exactly these planets were established. So yes. OG, has there ever been a book you put down and couldn't finish? Well, Dawn of the Jedi was one of them. The second book to what is it called again? Let me see. MedStar? Yeah, the second book to MedStar I haven't fully completed yet. I need to pick it up and finish it. I just couldn't. It just got too slow for me a little bit. Yeah, so that one I got to finish. So there you go. Usually I end up finishing them even if I don't like them. I'm curious to see what type of lore is being added for my knowledge. So I do grind through them even if I don't care for them that much. Well, Jason says we all have different views on the books and comics in the EU, just like normal geeks, and that's the fun talk about and that's the fun talk about that we like or did not like and where we think is mid. Yeah. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Wow. I'm a bit congested a little bit today and it sucks. The weather's changing, all of that. And then they dusted the crops for the cotton here not too long ago, harvesting cotton and everything like that. And that really screws up my sinuses too. Soul Assassin says, I doubt the films will get made. Star Wars is in a bad spot right now, and that more film will cause Disney to lose more money. Yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know. I'm just like, do it, make these, because it all needs to burn down. It all needs to burn. So whatever direction they go, it all needs to burn. It does. It all needs to stop for a while. It needs to pause. It needs to reset, reboot. And one more thing here. I wasn't really going to talk about it, but I guess we will since I still have you guys as an audience here. Lucky number 13. Woo! Please hit the like button. All of that. So, as some of you guys know, I do have someone that always has been pulling my name into their conversation, talking shit about me, even before I've even shared any information about her. She's did a hit video on me talking shit about me that someone then got a hold of her and said, you need to take that shit down, kind of thing. And so she took it down, what have you. Fine, I give her that. She took it down, but still she did a couple of hit videos on me and stuff like that. Well, she did a recent video about saying that Favreau is saying, do not reboot the OT with that OT rumor that's been going on about a reboot. And she believes that Favreau is in control of Lucasfilm, that Kennedy's out, that Iger needs to make the announcement official so that people can stop stressing about it, blah, 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 whatever. And of course, sources, Sparrow may have told her, but yet she can't reveal because she's got a gag order, which is, she's fucking full of shit. Well, her recent video, basically, and I shared this clip on Twitter. I was thinking about bringing it up, but I'm not going to give her the time of day. I'll just talk about it. She's like, Star Wars does not need a reboot. Leave it alone. However, reboot, get rid of the DT. Favreau says there should be no reboot. So what Favreau, if that's true and what he says, whether I don't believe anything she says really, like when it comes to who's in charge and stuff like that, she doesn't know. She's not a person that Lucasfilm and everybody would tell. She's not that important to Disney or Hollywood. I will say that for her to know. So when Favreau, from what she said, Favreau says there should be no reboots. Well, Favreau contributed to the first reboot of Star Wars in history, and that is contributing to the new lore in Disney Star Wars, because Star Wars was rebooted when Disney bought the company, when they tossed the EU. when they made the Disney trilogy, when they started making the books to coincide with the Disney trilogy and changed the view on how people see George's movies. They made the reboot when they rebooted the Rule of Two. How the lightsabers are made. How the Sith lightsaber are made. Bleeding the crystals. That's a fucking reboot. Everything they have done is a reboot. Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorians, a reboot. Ahsoka making it past Order 66 basically is a fucking reboot. Her being in the timeline after Return of the Jedi is a fucking reboot. Because now she's more important in a storyline that should go along the line with Han, Luke, Leia, Wedge, all of them. Mind you could still have standalones with certain characters and stuff because we did see that. We had Corran Horn with his own standalone. We had the Rogue Squadron. So basically that's relatively Wedge's series, right? Because he's the one that's responsible for the Rogue Squadron and the Wraith Squadron, what have you. We have all that. How Rogue One came out with how the Death Stars were obtained and given to Leia is a fucking reboot. It's a contradiction to A New Hope. Obi-Wan and Vader's fight in Obi-Wan Kenobi show is a fucking reboot. Big confrontations, and that was episode 3 and episode 4. I have proven and shared documentation from the company and George regarding that, and so has others like Open Airlock Policy. Leia never met Obi-Wan. She knows of him because of her father. That's a reboot. So when Favreau, this claim that Favreau says there should be no reboot, he's talking about Disney Star Wars should not reboot because the original Star Wars was rebooted already. So this is going to be my closing here. Everything we know about Star Wars going forward under Disney Lucasfilm is not Star Wars. It's all a reboot. It goes away from the original creator's intention. That's George Lucas, which he built upon in his time frame under Lucasfilm when he built Lucasfilm and Star Wars, worked with the authors, worked with the showrunners, all of that. So everything that George did, that's original content. That's what he did in the movies, what he helped produce in the EU, what he sanctioned and approved of for the EU. Hell, even like the Sith culture, he sat down with authors and created the Sith culture and the Rule of Two with them. And that storyline was shared in the EU first. So everything after the buyout is a fucking reboot. So when Favreau is mentioned saying there should be no reboot, he's talking about Disney Star Wars. He's not talking about George Lucas Star Wars because that was already rebooted. So there you go, you guys. I said my piece here. Here you go. That's why my channel's here, to talk about the heart of Star Wars, the real Star Wars, George Lucas era, the movies, the novels, the books, the games, all of that. That is original content. That is canon. There was never a reboot until Disney took charge, bought the franchise. And I don't think I don't think George was even prepared for that. Really? I think that, let me see if my screen will change here. I think that he was shocked to the direction that Disney has taken Star Wars, the franchise, and rightfully so. But, there's nothing he can do. He's no longer in charge. He no longer has say. And I think, in a way that kind of corners him because he's always had to say in what happened in Star Wars. He even said, like, in his exiting Lucasfilm as the owner, like before he decided to, retire and sell the company, he did consider like hiring someone to oversee. Well, he's still the owner. He's still the owner, blah blah blah. But he was going to hire someone to oversee everything in the company and all of that, and make new productions and stuff. But then he was like, even if I did that, I would be micromanaging. I would never really retire. So he's very honest with himself. He had a family with him. No, the media backlash on the PT did not make him sell. People are saying it was the fans that made him sell. No, none of that made him sell the company. He did that because he wanted fans to continue to have Star Wars, and he wanted to retire and live, a more home-based life with his wife and his child. He kind of like missed some of the opportunities with his children from before. And so he was taking the opportunity. He knows the kind of person he is. He micromanages. He oversees everything at one point, even if it's just approving like yes, no, blah, 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 blah. Was he involved with every single project? No, he wasn't, because he also had other projects like Red Tail Hawks that he, filmed and stuff, and then working with ILM and licensing them out to different films as being helping creating all the effects and stuff like that. So this man, brilliant as he can be, knew that he would never fully retire if he didn't step away. Yeah, he probably regrets it, but that's just how it is. And we're stuck here now talking about pre-Disney Star Wars and lamenting on our not agreeing or hating or stepping away, or maybe it's called apathy and you stepped away from Star Wars completely. Whatever the state you're in, this is why my channel is here, is to help you remain in the heart of Star Wars. So thank you guys again for hanging out. We nearly went 3 hours. That was fun. The quiz was fun. I had a good time with you guys. Like I said, I want to keep it interesting, fun for you guys, talk about lore. That quiz learning experience, that was fun as well. Really tested us. And I'm glad I thought about that. I really do. I don't regret nothing. Soul Assassin says, I think Lucas sees all the support he gets from the fans still over Disney. Yeah, I think so too. I thought Lucas couldn't get out of the cell if he wanted to. I thought Lucas couldn't get out of the cell if he wanted to. I know there was negotiations and stuff going on, and during those negotiations, they were asking for a sequel trilogy, so he wrote that for them and stuff and brought back the big three. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that, and we can confirm that later. Either way, we'll probably not have another Lucas again. No, you won't. We will never. Filoni can think he's another Lucas, and he's full of shit. We'll never get another Lucas. Not the brilliance in filmmaking, all of that. He broke records. He brought in new developments within the film industry, all of that. And, which pissed off Hollywood because he basically was independent from them. So that must have put salt in their wounds even more when he created ILM and Skywalker Sound and all that. And they had to rely on this independent filmmaker to help them create their movies. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing, and exploring his filmography and stuff like that has been amazing on my part. Very interesting in itself. All right, you guys, I'm just rambling now. Thank you guys again for hanging out. Gordon says, if we only had a time machine, right? My time machine is like Lucas's filmography, his interviews with Duncan in the Star Wars archives, all of that. I highly recommend finding all those resources and adding them to your library. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And next Thursday, we will continue on with Booster Tarek in the Smuggler's lore. So brush up on your knowledge about him. We will talk about the big red Star Destroyer. If you guys know what I'm talking about, he's the only one civilian to ever just have in his hands possessions the errant venture, a big red Death Star. So I think that's very interesting. So you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys on Twitter and maybe in the community chats here on YouTube and on Twitter. Thank you again. And you guys have a good day. Let me see what I want to do. I can't find it. We'll just play. Oh, here we go.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
Step forward, Padawan. Anakin Skywalker, by the right of the Council, by the will of the Force, dub thee I do, Jedi, Knight of the Republic.
Another happy landing.